Lend me your ear. I got something you need to hear. Turn the volume up so it's loud and clear. A podcast where we talk about politics and culture, unscripted, no limits. Like a 504 soldier, we're not pretenders, ain't no agendas. Our only plan is to keep it 100 and do it for the fam. Yeah.
What up? What up? What up?
What's going on?
6 Mil, keeping it true.
This your boy KG.
Welcome to episode 6 of For the Fam podcast. What's good, brother? How you been feeling?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Can't complain. A little gloomy out today, but, you know.
We need it, though, man. Ground has been so dry.
And then the next 6 or 7 days are supposed to be in the 80s.
I think we're going to hit the 90s again, bro.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, man. It's back. We thought we had got past that little heat wave, but it's back.
But I had on a hoodie a couple days last week when I was out at night.
Hey, the Midwest, man. You know, we get a little bit of everything, bro.
Yep.
So what's on your mind, man? What you want to talk about today?
So today we're going to touch on whether or not so-called patriots of today are hindering the growth and progress of all people in this country. What we mean by that is are they leaning on the Constitution way too much where, well, let me stop there. Not if. A lot of them are leaning on the Constitution to the point where they don't feel it should be amended. Where it's the gospel. It was written, this is what it is, and we're not supposed to make any changes. So we're going to discuss different ways that it could potentially be holding us all back.
Yeah, I don't even want to just specifically regulate it to patriots. I think lawmakers, Congress, the Senate, the Supreme Court, I think they all, in my opinion, it's to protect their true feelings, which basically makes them cowards in my opinion. But I think they try and lean on the Constitution and this is the original framework, et cetera, to justify just their bias or their racism or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I think like you just said, but I think I mentioned you on the phone a couple of days ago where if the founding fathers were to come back now, they would laugh at all of us because they would say, do you mean to tell me that you guys haven't changed any of these amendments? Like you haven't updated them?
Right.
You just kept them the same?
Right.
For almost 250 years?
Which technically the Constitution has been changed.
Right.
Because that's what an amendment is, which
Absolutely.
There are lots of amendments to the Constitution. But like I was just saying previously, what these clowns try and do when it's something that they just don't want to support is they try and go, oh, this isn't what the framers had in mind when they wrote this 250 years ago. Hey, there's a lot of things the framers didn't have in mind because it was written 250 years ago.
I mean, I can give you one in particular. I mean, George Washington talked about how morally reprehensible slavery was while still owning quite a few slaves.
Hypocrite.
For like another 30 or 40 years.
Hypocrite. Which all of them own slaves, bro.
And they and all of them at one point, with the exception of Ben Franklin, who later talked about how bad slavery was, but every single one of them talked about how horrible it was, but didn't do anything to change it.
Didn't do anything to change it. That's exactly right, bro. And that's why a lot of, don't get me wrong, they are important in terms of the history of America.
True.
They did write a document that, for all intents and purposes, stood the test of time. Cannot deny that there is a level of genius to it. But at the same time, we can't lean on that just as a way of trying to keep things the same. Everything gets updated. Technology, your car, your phone, whatever the case may be, it all gets updated. So to lean on that, like I said, is just an excuse in my opinion.
Can you imagine buying an electric vehicle of any kind and having to roll your window down by hand?
That would be kind of funny, though.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be hilarious. I'm like, hey, let me just get the car. I just rolled my window down. Is it gonna save me a couple grand? All right, cool. Yeah, I just rolled my windows down.
But an EV, something that they never even dreamed about. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's just like your phone.
Mm-hmm.
They credit Ben Franklin with coming up with the phone. He would have never imagined right now that everyone's walking around with a phone in their pocket. A phone that can do so much, by the way. I mean, technically a mini computer in your pocket.
So it's funny you say the computer. So coming up, we didn't have computers in the home. As we got older, we did. We had them big ass computer monitors.
Commodore 64s.
Right. But we're going right back to what it was before. So when I hire people and I send them over their onboarding packages and then I reach out to them, hey, did you start your onboarding? Well, I downloaded the app on my phone. I tried to do it. It wouldn't work. Now you need to do it from a computer. The response I always get is, all right, well, I need to go to the library. Nobody has computers in their homes anymore. It's either
because of the phone.
Right. So if like me, for example, yes, I have a computer. It's a work computer, but I also have an iPad. There's like maybe 9 or 10 different Apple units in my house. They're mostly phones and iPads. So yeah, you're right. It would have they would have never conceived what we have now. And to let's just say they did. Let's just say there were computers back then. And they wrote something up for the slow ass computers we were using.
Right.
Playing Oregon Trail in 8th grade.
Right.
And then we just left everything that they wrote on that paper to what it is now. We didn't update any of the verbiage.
Or the graphics, for that matter.
Right. Because
they were horrible.
What would happen? Your wagon will start moving and you get a pop-up and say you died of dysentery.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's I don't know, it's just like the like I said, purists, I guess you want to call them if that's a good term for them. I just feel like sometimes you just have to let things be. The natural progression is the natural progression. Stop trying to thwart that progression by claiming that this isn't what these dudes wanted. Who cares? They're dead. They're not coming back. It doesn't matter at this point what they wanted. If this is something that will help the country progress, let's move towards it. Or at least have the debate. Talk about the pros, talk about the cons, and then we can decide whether or not
something needs to be changed.
And it's just like I said, I just feel like it's so cowardice to just always fall back on this isn't what the forefathers intended. Even when, which doesn't mean anything, but even when they talk about precedents in legal cases, it's kind of like you're cherry picking when you want to refer to precedents and when you don't. There is no precedent for all of the stuff that you let Cheeto get away with. There's no precedent for that. But then if there's something that you don't want, there's no precedence for this, so we can't decide this way or there. It's just like, knock it off with all of that.
And the crazy thing is the founding fathers were technically considered rebels.
They were rebels.
They were people who were trying to turn the system upside down and rewrite it. But the crazy thing about it, did they?
No.
Or did they just sell?
That's exactly what happened.
And then just adopted everything?
That's exactly what they did. They left England because they didn't like the way things were being handled.
And then adopted everything they did.
Came to America and became another England, basically. In a nutshell, that's America.
We just want to run it ourselves.
That's it.
So instead of taking you over, we're going to go this way and rewrite everything. And you know what else is funny too is if you ask...
My bad, but the only thing they didn't institute was the monarchy. That's it.
Correct. If you take 8 out of 10 so-called purists and ask them, when was the Constitution signed? 8 out of 10 of them will say what year? 1776. Wrong. We're coming up on the anniversary in what? 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
Signed September 17th, 1787. Half of them don't even know when the paper was signed. But yet they want to keep it the way that it is. They don't understand it. They don't know what it is. They
Right.
only know certain portions.
Right.
They only agree to the first part, like especially the First Amendment.
First and second.
Oh my God.
First and second.
Those are the only ones they know.
That's it. First and second. Freedom of speech, guns. Freedom of speech, guns. That's it. But think about it like this, bro. If you want to have a freedom of speech conversation, who is the biggest offender when it comes to free speech?
Oh, as far as limiting it goes?
Yeah.
Well, it's always the right.
Think about this, bro.
And for people listening, I'm not just saying that. Like, turn on your TV, read a book.
How many lawsuits have dude filed, which all technically should file or fall under freedom of speech?
Quite a few. And how much money has he made just the last 8 months off networks just giving him money,
Right.
just to make it go away?
Right. Right. You are limiting freedom of speech. You can't sue people because they disagree with you politically. You can't stop their mergers from going through because they disagree with you politically. You are the biggest offender of free speech. But everyone always want to talk about free speech, free speech, free speech. Well, that pendulum swings both ways.
Even going back to right before we started. What did I read to you? I read to you that he's calling for the jailing of Democratic donors. Now, I don't know the full context of it because we didn't read the article yet, but that's the headline. So my guess is he must have said something on Truth Social recently that talked about jailing Democratic donors. Like it's just insane to me, man.
It is. It is insane. And like I said, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know where we go from here, but I do think that we'll make much more progress when we stop looking to this document or looking to history as a reason to not move forward.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that and like I said, that I'm speaking in terms of the lawmakers, Congress, the Senate, Supreme Court, etc. But also like historians who romanticize history in their writings. And it's just like, okay, cool. But again, put it in proper context. We can't always look at history and go, things were so much better because X, Y, and Z. Because on the flip side of that,
Better
especially of us being black,
better for who?
yeah, we can always go better for who.
Right.
So we can't always go and romanticize, oh, the 1800s was this, that, and other. It wasn't good for us.
It's now to quote Malcolm X. You know, I know I probably would have been in the house, but that don't mean that I wanted to be in the house.
Well, if you would have been in the house, my black ass definitely would have been outside.
Hey, it would have been like Martin and Eddie Murphy in Life. Martin had the suit on. Eddie was out there trimming the hedge.
Yard boy.
Right. And it's, you know, it's insane considering, like, even when you take it back to recent comments by our idiot lieutenant governor. Yes, I called him an idiot. I think the dude's an idiot about the 3/5 compromise, how it helped us. You know what I'm saying? But that's the reason for this conversation.
Right.
Like, you came up with this topic long before any of the events that have happened in the past few days. This is something that you mentioned a week and a half ago. But it's comments like the ones that he has made, and they doubled down on. And the fact that he's and I'm using air quotes, a so-called Christian, to talk about how the 3/5 compromise actually helped black folk.
You know was two things crazy about that, right? Because in the document it says all men are created equal. But then you go back and you make the 3/5 clause or statement or whatever. Just like, you just contradicted yourself.
But they ordered a special session to come up with that.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is that what gets lost in that is the North didn't argue that it was bogus because black people should be considered one person. They said, no, you shouldn't include black people at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gets lost in history a lot. Is the North didn't argue with them about saying, hey, man, you have to count black people as a person. The North was like, you can't count them at all. And the South was like, well, what about if we do 3/5? And the North said, so, what that did is that gave them more power in the government. Something that just gets lost.
It was all a
in
power
history.
grab.
It was a power grab.
It was all a power grab, and mostly about voting, which
exactly
we'll probably get into in a future podcast. But yeah, it was mostly about voting.
Yeah. So the North gets a lot of praise throughout history, where there were times where the North was just like, whatever.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, whatever.
For sure.
We don't like it, but we, do what you do.
For sure. Definitely not as progressive, quote unquote, as they try and make it seem. No, you're right. There were just as many races in the North as there were in the South.
And you and I grew up.
For sure.
What? Maybe 20 miles from a place that Martin Luther King called the most racist place he had ever been.
Dude, they
Cicero, Illinois.
They got a Klan display in the Indiana State Museum, bro. This is the Klan capital.
Now look, I know I may think differently than a lot of other people when it comes, because I love history. It's no secret. So I don't mind historical items being displayed in museums. That doesn't bother me. But when you want to erect them and put them in front of state houses and keep the Confederate portion, in South Carolina and Mississippi, those different places over the years, you just want to keep things the way that they were without knowing your history. I'm sorry. You know your history.
Right.
You know it. You just don't want to lose those voters. You know how ignorant it is to put a Confederate statue back up. You know how stupid that is. Or to do what he wants to do in D.C., putting a couple of them back up. In D.C., the blackest place in this country?
Yes, you're right. It's about catering to your voting base. At the same time, though, I also think it's about antagonizing black people.
Yeah.
I 100% think that there is just, let me show these blankety blanks what I can do. And you have no power to stop it. Yeah, it's wild, man. It all just kind of turns my stomach. It turns my stomach in a way that I won't say I don't expect it, but again, we're talking about progress, and you would think at this point in the game that we'd be beyond that, and we can just have a debate about ideas instead of trying to race bait. But one side doesn't have ideas, so what do you go back to? Race bait.
I think that for people like you and I, who I believe are rational thinkers. I haven't always been a rational person. Anybody that know me, grew up with me, know I ain't always been rational about a lot of things. But one of the things that I will never just turn my back on. So you don't like me, I don't like you. Anything that you're against for the progression of my people, my children, my grandchildren, my nieces, my nephews, I have no love for you. Period. And it doesn't matter who you are, what you do for a living, how many church sermons you give, how many Sundays you go to church, how much you give to charity. If you are against me in any way, shape, or form, or the woman who brought me into this world, the women who helped raise me, then yeah, I have no love for you. If that includes me saying, no, I ain't gonna say that.
Well, the silliest part of it for me is You hate someone for something that they can't control. That's the silliest part to me.
Mm-hmm.
No one chose to be black, white, Hispanic,
It's how you came
Asian.
into the world.
You have no control over it. So it's just so, like I said, it's just silly to me. It's just like, that's the base level.
Mm-hmm. To me, it shows a lack of intelligence.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what type of degree you have on your wall. If you hate black folk, hell, if you hate white folk, man,
Right.
whatever.
Right. Exactly.
The hatred that's displayed, like, it shows a lack of intelligence.
Yep.
It just does. To
Yep.
me, you're an idiot.
Yep. I mean, I'm trying to think how to word this.
Oh, I felt like that a few times in the last 22 minutes.
There are white people that I don't like.
Mhm.
There are black people that I don't like.
Absolutely.
So and it's all based on individual interactions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not just I hate this group because XYZ,
Right.
or this group behaves this way, which we'll get into later on in the podcast. But it's just like, no, it's not about making generalizations. I deal with people on a case by case basis. So if I don't like you, whether you black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever, it's because you did something to offend me.
Can you imagine doing your job and everyone that you see knows that you don't like them? Can you imagine how difficult your job would be? Hell, I'd lose 95% of my workforce.
Right. Right.
If I said that I hated that group of people, I would literally lose 28 to 29 employees immediately.
But you know what's the rub on that? These fools that hate you and still smile in your face and take your money, though.
I got a couple of them.
Well, absolutely hate your guts, but a smile in your face and take your money, which makes you scum, in my opinion.
All day.
Yeah. So, I don't know, brother. I think we covered that pretty well. Anything else you want to talk about as far as that go?
Nah, I think we good.
All right, cool. Next, we want to talk about some current events. You got a current event you want to talk about?
You know what I do?
All right.
I want to talk about this is in the sports stratosphere. So a lot of people in our generation grew up on famous journalists.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we don't really care for, like Pardon the Interruption, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like people like Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon are very well respected journalists in there.
I used to love that show.
Yeah. And at one point, so was Stephen A. Smith. Very respected, very credible journalist. So today, that person is Pablo Torre. Whereas he has uncovered this whole no-show contract thing with Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. And basically, in a nutshell, for those who aren't paying attention, the Clippers were accused when Kawhi was in Toronto of tampering. Toronto went to the league. The league basically said, nah, everything is good. Now to come to find out that they circumvented the salary cap and offered him $28 million on a job that was basically a no-show job. So he never did anything for the money. He just got an extra $28 million on top of it. Now, this is Pablo Torre. For those who may not know Pablo Torre, I believe this because this dude is an investigative journalist and he wouldn't put his name on this stuff if it wasn't true. ESPN has picked up the story. They've been running with it as well. We'll come to find out, when he first went to Toronto, he asked for a no-show job there too, whereas Uncle Dennis did.
So this is all a way to circumvent paying the excise tax when you go above the salary cap.
Yes,
gotcha.
Sir. So they've got the paper trail, and it was through the company called Aspiration. I would probably, and of course I'm probably wrong, kind of like Cash App. I know they've had like their own debit card savings programs and stuff like that. They've since gone bankrupt, I think twice, and the CEO is gone. He has denied all of this. Steve Ballmer has denied it, but obviously the NBA and credible media outlets are taking it serious. So the reason I brought all of it up, and when I mention true journalism, you got people on he ain't on ESPN anymore, Channing Frye, who said, why you snitching? Who cares anyway?
Mm.
I don't know which one of those questions are dumb. Bruh, the salary cap is put in place and negotiated by your union.
Right.
You are a retired player.
Right.
You still benefit from that CBA in some way, shape, or form.
Well, the whole point of it is so smaller markets can compete with larger markets.
Yes.
And you wouldn't have the same problem they had in baseball where the Yankees, because they had so much cheese, spin. And now the Yankees got an all-star team and everyone else is going, what about us? So that's the reason for the salary cap, so the playing field can stay competitive. So yeah, if you got someone trying to circumvent, then yeah, you're going to get punished.
Now, let me say this. I'm going to take a step away from what I just said. Nah, get your money.
Oh, for sure. I ain't mad at him.
I ain't watching your pockets. You are worth whatever people will pay you.
Right.
There are a million people out there that say Major League Baseball, soccer players, NBA, NFL are all overpaid. They're worth whatever somebody will pay them.
Facts.
So if they figured out a way to get Kawhi $28 million to leave Toronto to come to LA, kudos to you, Uncle Dennis and Kawhi Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
But it breaks the contract
Right.
of the CBA. And I don't think these fools understand how much trouble they can get in with this.
Right.
Like it's a business.
Right.
Charges can be filed.
Right. It's essentially fraud.
Right. Like like I said, get your money.
Yeah.
But understand that there might be consequences to you getting that extra 28.
Right.
So that's what I had.
Cool. I'm gonna talk about journalism, but in a different way. So for those who are not aware, which I'm sure most of us are, there was a shooting in Orem, Utah this week. Now, it's been, in my opinion, covered poorly by the I shouldn't say mass, but mainstream media. But here's what I want to sort of really touch on, right? Is the way that the media has not covered this truthfully, in my opinion, because it's okay to say that we don't condone violence, which I'll say for the record, we don't condone violence on this podcast. It's okay to say that. But at the same time, it is okay to tell the truth about a person and what that person stood for. No one is saying to demonize the dead, but if the dead wasn't exactly a good person, let's not try and sugarcoat and put lipstick on a pig. Call a spade a spade. Now, with that being said, I also want to talk about the rhetoric, because the first thing they want to talk about is the rhetoric. The rhetoric. The rhetoric is inflamed. We need to tone down the rhetoric. Well, one side, without any evidence, was blaming the other side. And I mean, like, immediately after this horrific event took place. I take that back. I did see one journalist push back and go, why didn't you have this kind of smoke for the lawmakers that were killed in Minnesota? But you know what I didn't see? Not one journalist asked any of those fools, how do they know? The suspect was still at large. How do you know who he supports? How do you know how he votes? How do you know he's with this side or that side, whatever the case may be? No one asked that in the media. They just kept letting these fools spew their idiocracy. And it just drives me crazy, because it's like, what happened to journalism? Your boy who got fired that you told me about.
Yeah, dog.
Nuts. The guy didn't say anything inflammatory. So, to his credit, he was trying to be a responsible journalist, if you want to call him that, and he gets fired for it. So, what are we doing here? If we can't tell the truth, then what good is the news? So now we just got propaganda. So now we're North Korea.
Pretty much.
Lord have mercy. God forbid. God forbid. And like I was saying on episode 5, the one thing that we cannot forget, and let's take a trip through history. Lincoln assassinated. What's the guy with the musical? Hamilton. He got killed in a duel, right?
Yeah, Alan Burr.
MLK assassinated. Malcolm X assassinated. JFK assassinated. Medgar Evers assassinated. There's always been political assassinations from the beginning. It's part of our DNA. It's as American as apple pie, as they say. What is the common denominator in every assassination? The gun. Until we start trying to have a real conversation about guns and gun control, I don't even want to hear it about stop the violence. You don't want to do anything to stop the violence. The proof is in the pudding.
Well, the biggest issue is that anytime, as Democrats like to say all the time, common sense gun laws come up, it always gets switched, and the rhetoric is Democrats want to take away your gun.
Right.
When I would probably say 90% of the lawmakers, Democrat-wise, they have guns.
For sure.
Several.
For
'Cause
sure.
A lot of them are retired military.
Right.
Just like it is on the right. Most of those guys are retired military.
Right.
So absolutely they have guns.
Right.
Do you know how many guns? You know how long it would take? Well, we got 5, 6, 700 million guns in this country.
Mm.
You know how long that would take? Do you know how many people? Like, look, I've said it before. I had a neighbor who I thought had no business being out on his own. I thought he needed an escort. He had, like, leave it up to him. He probably had about 20, 30 guns in that house. But if somebody would have knocked on that door to try to take his guns away, I would have been right there defending him. Even though he spewed a lot of nonsense I didn't care for.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody came in and said, we just want to take your guns, even though he hasn't been charged for anything, I'm going to be right there fighting with him for him to keep his guns. So that's why the whole narrative that's always spewed that Democrats don't want anybody to have guns, it's insane. It's stupid. It's a stupid argument and it's a stupid conversation.
I agree. I agree 100%. And again, I feel like this is something that Democrats continue to miss the boat on. You know, they always let the conversation get hijacked. I don't know, bro. That's about all I have for current events. Anything you want to touch on? Or anything else you want to touch on since you already touched on a current event?
Nah, I want to get to one of our favorite movies from high school.
All right. Well, first, let's do our RARC. Everyone's favorite segment, by the way. And let's rant about a random topic. You got anything you want to rant about as far as a random topic, bro?
I'm going to let you go.
All right. So it's football season, y'all. And I am a football fan. I love football. Let me say that again. I love football. And most of us football fans know that your quarterback is usually the highest paid or one of the highest paid players on the team, especially if he's good. Something about the quarterback hit me recently. And I was just like, you know, even if your quarterback isn't that good, he probably deserves a little bit extra on his paycheck. And here's why I say that. How long is a football game?
Well, as far as quarters, you talking about 60 minutes, 4 quarters?
Thank you. Thank you for not saying 3 hours. Thank you for saying that a football game is 60 minutes. Thank you for that, brother. For half of that game, the quarterback hands are on another man's sweaty ass. You deserve some extra money for that. This man is 300 pounds. This man has been sweating all damn day. And you got to go put your hand in his ass for half of the game. Look, coach, we going out of the shotgun, man. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I just can't. So yeah, when I hear that these young players are like, he only operates out of the shotgun.
But that's probably why our quarterback is in the shotgun so much. Like, nah.
I'm with it. I get it now. I get it. I'd be like, hey, coach, we need to run these plays out of the shotgun, man. I'm sorry. I just can't do this. And I'm kind of a germaphobe. So I think I would always feel like my hands aren't clean. Or I'd be wearing gloves like a lot of these guys are starting to do. But then they say that you don't have the feel of the ball.
Sure you can. All you gotta do is use that stuff Jerry Rice used to use. Throw some stickum on there.
See, I wasn't. I was gonna let that one rock.
He's still the greatest. He's still the greatest. But hey, let's like you said a few minutes ago. Let's call a spade a spade. That brother had stickum on his gloves.
Man.
That brother had stickum on his gloves.
That's my work, bro. You want to rant about Jerry Rice and his stickum?
No, I'm good. Because he admitted it in a roundabout way a couple years ago.
Oh, man. Jerry, we love you, man. You are a Hall of Famer in our book always.
And possibly a distant relative of mine. We don't know yet, you know. He's from where my people from, so.
No, that's what's up. That's cool.
We'll just say, you know, he like the fourth cousin once removed.
Okay. All right. That's what's up.
I ain't got no proof, but, you know.
Hey, well, I mean, chances are you ain't wrong. I mean, think about them small towns. Everybody was related in some kind of way back then.
Especially in a town like Starkville.
So yeah, man. It used to trip me out when we used to go back to Alabama and like the whole town to be this your cousin so-and-so and this your cousin. Like everybody in the town is a cousin. But hey, it's just kind of what it was back then.
Think about it back home. I can look, or what our neighborhood was 13 blocks, 14 blocks long? Dude, I got at least 2 relatives on every street in that city.
That's interesting.
You probably got about 3 on every street.
No, that ain't true.
Your family way bigger
My
than mine.
family is big, but I didn't have a lot of cousins like you had growing up though. So that ain't necessarily true.
Shoot, man, I had on my daddy's side, first cousins, there's like 26.
Oh, wow.
And on my mama's side, there's like 24, 25.
And
first cousin.
My daddy only had one brother. And they lived in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So I had kinfolk, but not like that.
What, my daddy, 1 of 10 or 11, and my mama's like 1 of 8, 7, 8. I'm drawing a blank off the top of my head.
And see, I had 2 aunts in the city, and then the rest of my mom's siblings. Well, my one aunt lived in Florida, and the others lived in Alabama. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Probably as big as my family is, not like you think. So it was spread out, if that makes any sense. All right, I think we covered our work for today. So now we want to get into 5 on the black hand side.
Yes, indeed.
And this week we are going to review a cult classic, a hood classic, if you want to call it that, Menace to Society. Take it away, my brother.
Okay, so I want to start it off by giving a brief synopsis, talk about the directors, the awards it won, and just to mention how we felt about the movie when we were 17, 18, because it came out the year we graduated. So we would have been 17. We loved the movie. Absolutely loved it. Loved it growing up, but I'm going to get to that. So for those who've never seen it, directed by the Hughes brothers, they're identical twin brothers. Brief list of awards that the movie won. 1994 MTV Movie Awards, it won Best Song, Straight Up Menace with MC8. It was nominated Best New Filmmakers, which, by the way, the Hughes brothers were only 20 when they got the money for that movie. And 21 when the movie was released. That's crazy.
That is crazy. How old was Matty Rich when he made Straight Outta Brooklyn? Because he was pretty young when he made Straight Outta Brooklyn,
early
right?
20s.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact age, but yeah.
Okay.
So in 94, they also won. Well, no, they were nominated for Best First Feature Picture at the Spirit Awards and Best Cinematography, which cinematography must have sucked back then, but
nope, I'm gonna just let you have it.
So the movie was praised by, people like Roger Ebert, Janet Maslin, And Rolling Stone and Variety also praised it. So now that we got that out the way,
Okay.
you know I make jokes about this movie all the time at random time.
Wait, what is the movie about, bro?
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Look,
so
I done got ahead of my damn
okay, so Menace II Society is about what? A group of young black males growing up in LA. They have to deal with selling drugs, gang violence, what were they, car thieves, just police, police brutality, just all things that a young black male growing up in the inner city would have to contend with on a day-to-day basis. You got one main character, Old Dog, who family just like kind of don't care and threw him to the wolves. And you got the other character, Kane, who's out there in the streets, but his grandma and grandpa is trying to keep him on the straight and narrow, so to speak. So
they be in church every Sunday.
Right. So that's like the movie is just about.
Remember that? That's what Old Dog said when they walked out. They was lecturing him. He's like, man, your grandparents be in church every Sunday.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. We'll get into all of that. So basically, that's the movie in a nutshell. Is just the adventures, if you want to call it that these guys went through. Drama, struggles, trials and tribulations, whatever you want to attribute to it. But that's the movie. So go ahead, brother. Take it away.
So one of my problems with the movie now, I'll still watch it. It's, I ain't even about to lie. I'll probably get 20 minutes into it before I have to turn it off. It's got some of the worst acting I've ever seen in my life. When you have a movie where MC8 is probably the best actor in the movie, we got a problem. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. Charles S. Dutton sits alone, and he only had about 8.5 minutes worth.
Right.
But although you and I weren't living like that,
right,
we knew people who were in the streets like that.
Right.
Like just out there wilding.
Right.
And, unfortunately, most of them have passed on. But the acting in the movie was so bad. Old Dog shopping around the tape from the store.
Evidence.
Like it was his video. Like he was trying to make it.
Yeah.
He was about to drop a mixtape.
Yeah.
Everything is good.
Yeah, evidence.
Kane, after hearing the shots, his first instinct. First off, let's talk about how he was standing there, straight up and down, like a pole, with a 40 ounce.
Right.
Literally.
Right.
Parallel.
Right.
To the floor.
Right.
And when he heard the gunshot, instead of just dropping it, like he slams it to the ground.
Yeah.
Where his fingerprints were left.
Hold on, bro. Was either one of them 21?
No.
Yeah.
No. So that's why they didn't want you in the damn store.
Right. Exactly. Neither one of you clowns old enough to drink, and yet y'all in the liquor store, and you done supposedly opened a 40 and just drinking it in the store.
I mean, to the head.
Right.
Turned it up.
Right.
So
crazy.
That part, jacking the dude in the drive-thru for the...
Wait, though. We can't skip past the murder.
Hell, which one?
Well, at the store. So they get into it with the shop owners, the liquor store owners, who are an Asian couple. They're being very disrespectful. And the lady goes, it was the lady, right?
She said something, but he also said something at the counter.
Yeah, like, I feel sorry for...
No, that was him. When he said, because Old Dog went from... I'm trying to describe this the best way I can. And for those who sitting out here going, man, these dudes are too critical, y'all can kiss my ass. So,
oh, man.
Because I want y'all to hear me out. Like, why this movie? I want y'all to go back and watch it and go, I see what he's talking about. Where you can still enjoy the movie and criticize it. I can criticize. Hell, Kane himself has criticized the acting in that movie. But he goes, he pays for it, the beer.
Right.
Hands the dude whatever he gave him. and then just walked away. And then old dog is like, hey, why don't you give my homeboy his change?
Yeah.
And the dude just drops like, I don't know, coins. I feel sorry for your mother.
Yeah.
You feel sorry for who? And now you go shoot him 3 times
Yeah.
in the chest?
Yeah. So yeah, you pull out your glizzy and you kill both the husband and the wife, and then you rob the place.
Jackpot.
Yeah.
They had the money in his sock. He
Yeah.
was looking in the register.
Yeah.
His fingerprints was everywhere.
Everywhere.
But they arrested Kane because of the beer bottle.
Fingerprints, video, which they took the tape, which that's what you
Right.
was referencing earlier. But still, it's just like,
now you know how crazy you got to be to sit around with 4 of your homeboys on the couch watching you kill somebody?
right,
2 people?
right, and laugh about it.
How crazy that is.
Talk about how hard you are. First of all, what makes you hard that you just killed 2 unarmed people?
And the sad thing was, now and again, this is us speaking from being grown and parents and grandparents now. During that time, there was a lot of animosity in the Watts community.
For sure.
The Korean shop owners and black folk. I mean, obviously, Latasha Harlins and whatnot. But I just personally thought, man, the acting, it just makes me laugh. I don't want to talk like I hate the movie, but the acting is so bad to me now, it's hard to get through it. And I ain't even got to Stacey.
I was about to say, man, we got to get into some of our favorite scenes, though, when we talk about the acting, because I know which one that you hate, and I got to get into the one that I hate.
Like the scene in the car where they coming up the alley, bumping DJ Quick.
Mm-hmm.
And they talking about him pushing up on Jada, on Ronnie.
Ronnie, yeah.
Just Sharif's response to it. Stacey's response with that fake laugh and throwing his hands up. On life without parole. I don't think so. Just I don't know. The acting is fun. I know it sounds like I'm angry about it, but it's just funny to me. Which scene were you talking about with yours?
You know which one that I hate, man. Your guy. First, before we even get to the end. But when he first goes to get, so Kane meets this girl, which that whole scene at the barbecue was so terrible when he meets this girl at the barbecue and all of his hand gestures. Yeah. And it's just like, man, just get her number, dude. But so he smashes. Old girl claims to be pregnant. He like, it ain't my baby. She sends her cousin over to Kane's house to confront him. Her cousin, like, hey, homie, you come out here, man. Let me talk to you. He pulled up his pants like 25 times, like he ready to scrap. And I mean, just some of the worst acting you've ever seen. But fast forward that, because now, after Kane whoops him, he got to get some get back. So they're going to do, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, I mean, I'm sorry, but spoiler alert. So they go to do the drive-by at the end to get some get back on Kane. So dude runs out the house. It's probably 2, 3 in the afternoon, something like that. Broad daylight. Let's just put it like that. It's broad daylight. He runs out the house. No mask on. But he's looking around and tiptoeing like, and I mean, when you see it, you'll understand. But he's looking back and forth and tiptoeing. And it's just like, dude, go get your ass in the car.
And you can hear the dude in the background say, man, get your ass in the car.
It's just like, what are you look suspicious. You look like you about to go do something stupid. Just go get in the car, dude.
So I got one for you. So when they get to the street and the guns come out.
Yeah.
And then the screen fades to black.
Yeah.
And it comes back. My man went from 2 pistols to 2 MAC-10.
He sure did. It
was like a Tubi movie before Tubi even came out.
Hey, we might have to get into some Tubi movies eventually too. And I know a lot of them are hard to watch.
Man.
I know, bro.
Man, I did see a clip on one where the dude was in the room. He had on a t-shirt and they were arguing. And the camera panned and he had on something else. And then when they got to the living room, he had on the other shirt again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've caught like like I forget Syriana with Matt Damon and George Clooney. He was in the bathroom tying his tie, and his wife said something. He stuck his head out, and he had on like a striped tie. And he went back in, and then he came back out, and the tie was like solid.
You're right.
Solid.
You're right. You're
like
right.
That.
You're right.
I just remember catching that. Going, wait, wasn't that tie like 2 or 3 different colors?
Yep. You are right. So I mean, like, and listen, y'all, we are products of the 90s. All right. So around this time, we got Boys in the Hood coming out. We got Juice. We got Menace to Society. So we were starved, if that's a proper term, for some representation in Hollywood. I mean, because we'd have to go all the way back to like Spike Lee movies, Do the Right Thing and School Days and all of that. So we were kind of starving for some representation. So to see these type of hood movies, if that's what you want to call them, we were super excited, right? But as we've gotten older, we look back and it just makes you go, these movies just weren't that good. Just like what was all the, not to diss the Hughes brothers, not to diss John Singleton. You know what I'm saying? It's just, we just got to call a spade a spade.
But I think too, what drew us to it, obviously you talk about the representation, but a lot of the things that they were going through in LA, we were going through.
Sure.
I mean,
sure. We could relate to it for sure.
We were in Indiana, but we were
for sure
5 minutes from Chicago.
For sure.
So we saw a lot of those things.
For sure.
Up. So
sure.
And we could take a character
and relate them to somebody we knew in the hood.
Grew up with.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So
without a doubt.
But now, you're right. Now that we older, we look at it, we're like, oh man, this was just so poorly, like just like we loved O-Dog. Oh man, he was so bad in that movie.
It really was.
Oh,
he really, dude.
He shot a crackhead in broad daylight over a cheeseburger.
Over a cheeseburger. I was just about to say that. Like, you shot a dude over a cheeseburger in broad daylight. And nobody said anything.
And all MCA said was, stupid, man.
Right. When Kane got shot, they bust up in the hospital. Get me a MFing doctor.
What the moms?
What, y'all trying to go to jail? I'm like, come on, man. You can't act. The whole thing was just like,
it seems to me a lot of it was overacting.
It
wasn't natural.
That part.
Like, yeah, O-Dog, I mean, Lorenz Tate from the city, but I'm not saying they grew up rich, because they didn't.
Right.
But they didn't grow up like that.
Right.
They grew up, but yeah, it just.
No, you're right. A lot of it was overacting. A lot of the scenes were over the top. Yes, you'll be distraught about your homie being shot, whatever, but you ain't gonna run up in there like that. Like, man, knock it off. Like, the whole movie, they were doing things like there wasn't a police in LA. Like, they weren't worried about facing any type of consequences for their actions. And I think that's the part that I'm just like, so ain't none of y'all worried about catching a case? None of y'all? Like, come on, man. Y'all, I get that y'all young, but I'm like, but y'all ain't that dumb. Like, come on now.
So we could talk about this another 25 minutes, but what we want to do is we're going to switch it up a little bit this week. I'm going to hand over the closing monologue to my brother. Let him take it away.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. I'm going to try and be as brief as I possibly can and try not to ramble. I'm going to try and stay on topic and stay on point, but I do have a tendency to get sidetracked, as evidence. But I want to talk about black on black crime. And I know that this is something that aggravates you to the core. It aggravates me. And hopefully, when I'm done with this, it'll shine a new perspective or give you guys a new perspective as it relates to crime, statistics, and why you should be just as annoyed when you hear someone talk about black on black crime. So for a couple of definitions. First, I want to talk about intra-racial crime. Intra-racial crime happens when crimes are committed between two people of the same race. Interracial crime is when crimes are committed between two people or more than two people of a different race. So keep that in mind going forward. Intra and inter. Now, approximately 82% of violent crime committed against white people is by other white people. But you never hear anyone talk about white on white crime. Why is that? Conversely, 92% of violent crime committed against black people is by other black people. To make a long story short, people commit crimes against the people in their proximity or vicinity. It has little or nothing to do with race. But I want to roll out a couple of statistics since we've always had that narrative that blacks are violent. So I want to talk about some more violent crimes and break it down by race. And I'm going to start with serial killers. Pay attention to these numbers now. 82%, 82% of American serial killers are white. Approximately 15% of American serial killers are black. You want to know how many immigrants, quote unquote, are serial killers? 2.5% of American serial killers are Hispanic. Between 52 and 54% of mass shootings are perpetrated by white men. Let me say that again. 52 to 54% of mass shootings are perpetrated by white men. I think we need to stop the whole blacks are violent conversation. Now, here are some things when we talk about intraracial crime, because there is a statistic that supports that blacks are more violent against whites when you just look at the last 10 years. But here's the thing. They include assault, robbery, things like that. It's not just blacks killing whites. If you rob someone, they consider that a violent crime. So there's your uptick in why the data would support that blacks are more violent in recent years. Not so much a racial thing, more of a socioeconomic. I'm robbing you because I don't have, not making excuses. Stealing is wrong regardless. But when you look at it throughout history, whites are way more violent towards black people or any other racial group for that matter. And it's not even close. When you consider the Tulsa Massacre, when you consider Rosewood, when you consider Bloody Sunday, these are all massive violent events perpetrated by white men against black people. And most of it just because we were existing. There is no rhyme, reason, or cause for the violence. So it's safe to conclude that white people, based on the data, are more violent and have committed the most violent crimes in U.S. history. Period. Anything you want to add to that, brother?
Not at all.
All right, cool. Well, we're going to leave it there for now, y'all. We want to thank y'all for tuning in to episode 6 for the Fam Podcast. We are on YouTube, audio only. We're having some issues with Spotify and Apple, but we'll have those worked out soon. So you'll be able to find us on Spotify and Apple. We're on iHeart. We're on Podbean. So just tune in, y'all. Tune in, look us up, share, leave a comment. You know what I'm saying? Help us out. Help us out because we trying to do something, y'all. We trying to get there. And we will get there, but we need y'all support. So, gonna leave it there for now. I'm 6 Mil, keeping it trill.
It's your boy KG.
And we'll holler at y'all next time. Peace.